What's up, everybody? Welcome back. And behind me is our market garden and a hazy sky and an orange sun because Canada's still unfortunately burning. And we pray for our friends out there because, yeah, that's no good. So just thought I would give everyone a little tour here of our market garden and the elder hedge here behind me. That's actually really starting to evolve this year and unfold. It's pretty awesome. So let's check it out. All right, here is the 2023 market garden. It is, I don't even know what the date is, to be honest with you. The end of June. And like I said, very weedy in here, but still a very, very productive garden. We have snap peas in here. I believe I've posted some shorts on them. We got our garlic going strong here. Hardneck garlic. I have yet to give it its final weeding and mulching. But all the scapes are off. We have pickled them. And we did not use the green tops kind of part. The top part after the flower this year to make pesto. But there's always next year. Sometimes there's too many things to do and not enough time. So we let this bed sprawl because we ran out of fencing material. But one thing we're messing with, and this is the first year I've been able to fully implement it, is using an cover crop essentially and a nitrogen fixer, a soil rebuilder, which in this case is a legume and is snap peas. And we've inoculated all of our beds of snap peas, and we're doing them every other bed. So we tend to have a nitrogen fixer rebuilding the soil, heavy feeder, nitrogen fixer rebuilding our soil, heavy feeder, which this was actually supposed to be carrots, and we had terrible germination rates. Lots of dill in here, which could be confused for carrot. There's a carrot. There's a carrot, but really, for how many I planted in here, there's 4 rows. I think I'm just going to stale seed this and try again probably mid-July, maybe more toward the end of July. But supposed to be carrots in here and then nitrogen fixer. Then here is our tomato bed. Our tomatoes were very sad this year, probably the worst starts I've ever had. So they're very small, but they're doing well nonetheless. And something we're doing, which also, because apparently I'm not saving seed the best. I'm saving my home save seed, but my little seed packets I buy from companies and store, I'm not storing them the best because they're not lasting as long as they should. So we got to rethink our methods, I think, moving forward on that. But one thing we do with our tomatoes, I actually had so many of my starts die that I direct seeded some. These last couple, and they're actually catching up to those really late starts pretty quickly. I think these are going to start blowing up because they got potted up quite a bit. But anyways, one thing we do is, and I didn't have one sprout there unfortunately, and these were all home save lima bean seeds. Tomatoes were bought, purchase seed, but this is a bush lima. And what's supposed to happen is bush lima, basil, marigold, bush limas, basil, marigold, bush limas, and grow like a mat underneath the tomatoes. Kind of an understory, a green mulch, but we have our nitrogen fixer helping rebuild. Excuse me. We would have basil, which we do have some basil. Wait, where is it? Whoop, there it is. And there. Not starts, these were direct seeded. Again, some of the worst transplants I've ever had, excuse me, this year. So we would have a nitrogen fixer helping rebuild the soil and giving us a green mulch. Then we would have the basil giving us something that we love to pair with tomatoes, so it's nice to have it at hand, right, growing below them, but also a very fragrant thing that many pests aren't going to like and stuff like that. And then same thing, marigold's very fragrant. Many pests don't like it, and ladybugs will ideally come in and also eat any aphids or anything that are hanging out on our tomatoes. So not the most impressive, I guess, display of how we grow our tomatoes here, but hopefully later in the year it'll do its job a little bit better. And again, another row of snap peas. We did 5 rows this year. I'll probably do 5 coming forward, and literally that first row that's sprawling and isn't up on a trellis is all kind of sacrificial. That's going to all be seed, so we can plant these 5 rows again next year, which we're so blessed to be able to do. And like I picked, is it this row? Yeah, I completely picked this row yesterday. Got about 6 quarts of snap peas out of here, and there's plenty everywhere still that are ready to go. So again, we have another heavy feeder, and I think I forgot to mention, not only is that hard neck, but that's music. And here we have soft neck. This is red and Chilean. We're going to be trying our hand at doing some wreath making and braiding with soft neck garlic, as well as eating lots and lots and lots of it. Again, snap peas just going nuts. Little break in the trellis here. They have nowhere to go. Yeah, so I eat them. As you can see, I've been hoeing the path in this area, really cleaning it up. We're going to be composting down a lot of this material. Beautiful stuff. We might even throw it into the chicken coop and let the hens have a whole lot of fun with it. But really cleaning the paths up well. And I know my gardens are very weedy. Anyone that knows me in real life knows that I'm usually known for having very clean gardens. I do not have this many thistles normally in my gardens. We've been experimenting with tillage more, and I'm regretting it because our seed pressure has gone through the roof. So definitely going back to our ways of low till / maybe even going all the way back to a no till once we get our soil to the right spot. So we have a stale bed here. I just untarped it today. Gonna leave it for a couple days to a week, retarp it. We're not gonna keep playing these games with this perennial seed pressure. I'm gonna start just stale seed bedding again. It seems necessary. So we have a 6-foot path here between bed 10. This is a 10 bed plot. This is field block A, I call it. And it's 10 market garden beds, 30 inches wide by 30 feet long. And then we have a 6-foot path here. Oh, and my paths are 15 inches, so half of the width of the bed. We have a 6-foot path here that will separate field block A from our greenhouse that will be going up. And then sometime in the future, as I clean this up, drop this maple that's already starting to die a little bit on the top. So I have a feeling it's on its way out. One day we will mimic that 10 bed plot, 6-foot path, 10 bed plot over here will have field block B. So it'll be 20, 30 foot market garden beds. And we've already preemptively planted accordingly with our elderberry hedge, which is also the start of Forest Garden South, because this is the south edge of our property. Well, on the other side of the chickens, over there it is. So we have, this is the furthest west elderberry of the elder hedge. Doing okay, as you can see, showing some stress, probably nitrogen or iron deficiency. And it's probably because we're experimenting with grass clippings as mulch. And as it's a green mulch, they're probably not enjoying that so much. It's probably drawing nutrients out of the soil and into the grass clippings, robbing this plant of iron and other things. So we'll see. Hopefully, as it starts to really decomp down and cool down, it will then return those nutrients back to the soil. But it's doing its job at keeping the ground, and it's thick too. It's not a thin layer. It's doing a good job at keeping nice damp earth down here. So might even peel some of it back and do some amending with some earthworm castings and other stuff. So we have horseradish, very miserably growing amongst these weeds. Actually, it looks quite good. We love our horseradish. I got some cages around these ones that need to be removed. The chickens were out on pasture here a couple weeks ago. They've been back in their winter run for a while because we had our first baby chick born 100% naturally on our property here. So we have some, I believe, straw flower growing below this one. We just experiment with some different things. Nothing too strict, nothing too crazy. It's all pretty simple. Actually, we have calendula growing around this one. Starting to already put out some teeny little heads. Look at you. Go, buddy, go. Super cool. These are all wildwood elderberry. We bought 4 plants. Goodness, probably 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe more now, maybe 5. And I've slowly been propagating them and splitting them out. They were originally 4 were planted on the other side of the house in the shade garden. And after a while, I devised this plan. So what I have here is a set of 3 elderberries. They have, I believe, 8 foot between them, then a 14-foot space. This will encompass a compost system in the future, and then another set of 3 at 8-foot spacing. And this one has strawberries underneath it, and they're going nuts. They're wild, so they're not big, but the flavor is out of this world. Oh, dang. That's good. So, more elderberries. Then I had, so then you see the same planting, 8-foot spacing. Here we have an 18-foot gap, because that's the width of our greenhouse. And if you notice, right in line with it, we don't want them shading out the front wall of the greenhouse at all, if we can help it. They might a little bit, but I think I've given them enough space this way, and we will be pruning them back. And this one, actually, most people will probably be able to call me out on this. Well, I got it in the right spot. If you're looking at the corner of the greenhouse there, this is not an elderberry. I had a relative swear up and down he had elderberry on his property, and I had to come dig the rest I needed up from him and not spend any more money on them and not waste my time doing this and that. And anyways, all this different stuff. And I ended up with swamp ash. It's not elderberry at all. So I got to get this one, and then I believe that one might be a swamp ash as well. And the one on the other side of the compost is as well. So what we will be doing in the future with these ones is horseshoeing or cutting it out around it. These will even get widened further out to the drip edge, kind of, if you will, of the elderberries. But as you can see, we have quite a cool system building here on this end of it, where it's more developed. Comfrey is flowering out and going nuts. Needs to get chopped and dropped again. Got to kind of trim the elderberry back here, but it's putting out such big, wonderful heads. I don't dare to, because we have 3 echinacea in here and a head of cabbage that was a volunteer growing in here. This is some of the biggest and healthiest cabbage I've ever had on the property. We used to try to grow it in the market garden in long rows, and we have a lot of commercial cabbage production around us, and because of that, and we don't spray nothing, we don't do anything to it, we got all the flea beetle pressure, and it was insane. We have a nice cooking compost pile here that's overdue to be turned over to here, so that 14-foot gap between those two sets of elder there are set up to take another one of these 4-bay compost systems, which I might modify a little bit. I've figured out things I like and don't like about it, so that's more stuff coming up, is modifying our composting system. So then there's that other swamp ash I told you about, and then the dog and the cat have been tearing them up, but we have a bunch of purple potatoes growing in here. They're coming along. These are from the root cellar from last winter. We stored these, we grew these and store these. If the dog and the cat would stop digging a bunch of them up, I think we'd be all right. So then we have a blueberry bush, little high bush blueberry right here hanging out. We have some German heirloom romaine. It's a Forellenschlauch. Translates to speckled like a trout, and also known as troutback romaine. I actually took those 6 head. They were growing out of the side of the compost. Plucked them out, replanted them, put them back in. And this part of the elderberry hedge is really impressive. I wish I'd never got this swamp ash in here and we had another big, beautiful elderberry here, because this really shows you how this elder hedge is really going to give us some privacy from the road. People not be able to see all the food we're growing. You know, I like to show my gardens off, but you know, to selective people, to those who are going to enjoy it, for those who are looking at it, not necessarily for those who might have more nefarious plans and schemes. So we have some strawberries growing underneath this elder. Got more comfrey under this one. Lots of stuff evolving here. Lots of fun. Grow a garden. Have some fun. My pawpaw's dying back. The only one that survived is dying back for some reason. Pawpaws don't like growing here. I've read that they're quite juggalo tolerant, and we have a very mature black walnut here, and another one there, and a cluster of juvenile, I guess you could say, ones here, and a fairly mature one there. So lots going on for sure. For sure. Most of my pawpaws died. Very, very upsetting. So most of food forest, that's all. I think that's what black walnut coming up. Most of food forest east did not make it this year. The only thing that did survive, besides these black walnuts that want to grow everywhere, look at them all. These are all little walnut trees. But once I finally mow, they'll be gone. So I believe it's just, I don't think all this was in the right place. They were rush plantings, kind of improvised, last minute thing. Doing more doing than thinking, and I just think it's God's way of telling me that I gotta rethink it and redo it. The only thing that made it were these hazelnuts, and in hindsight, I don't think I really want these hazelnuts here, even though they're really happy. This is a American hazelnut. We've planted a lot of these, especially back around our Three Sisters garden on the northwest corner of the property back there. Look at that catalpa. That's a northern catalpa. She's in full flower right now. Just absolutely beautiful. It's a great wood too. It's a bit squirrely, you know, very curvy and stuff, and kind of wicked looking, but makes good fence post if you can get a straight enough piece. Has pretty good staying power, and it also attracts a cool moth called the sphinx moth, and the larvae of that is known as one of the best grubs for fishing in the world. So if you have some of these trees growing on your property and you're a fisherman, you might be able to harvest some really good stuff to toss in your local creek or the Erie Canal if you're near that, or some lakes or whatever you got around you. So these hazelnuts, these ones made it, but I think I had 3 die. So I think these 2 are gonna fill some voids back there, and we're gonna rethink how we do this front yard area. I think we're gonna bring in some fill and do some different stuff throughout right in here, and then maybe even key line across and as we spoil pile, kind of make some different stuff to plant in. So we'll see. It's all evolving. That's the market garden. Got some more gardens to show, but I think that's enough for today. So grow some snap peas. They're delicious. Grow garlic. It's wonderful. It's easy to grow. I'm so excited to see how it does. It's huge this year. We got to get it weeded and get it mulched up. But thanks for watching, friends, and try to grow something today. Sometimes you fail like that, but that's okay. We're gonna drag that tarp over top of it, kill all those weeds, and try again. Don't be afraid to try again. Take care.